Welcome to all panelists and audience. Thank you for joining us this morning for this forum discussions on climate change and its impacts on pineapple growth. So, climate change has become one of the most pressing global challenges of our time. In Malaysia, changing weather patterns such as floods, prolonged drought, rising temperatures, and unpredictable rainfall are increasingly affecting agricultural productions and food supply stability. These challenges raise serious concerns about our nation's food security, especially for small-scale farmers and rural communities. So today, our forums aims to explore how climate change affects food productions, the challenges faced by farmers, and the roles of extension service in ensuring sustainable food security. So now let me introduce our panelists. This is Ms. Elytra Karens, a pineapple farms owner, and our second panelist is Ms. Esther Hansis, an agriculture officer. So to start, I would like to invite our first panel, Ms. Karen, to share a little bit about her background.
Okay, so good morning everyone. My name is Elytra and I am a farm owner for Pineapple Farm for almost 6 years now, where I start since 2020. So when I first start, I start with just a small piece of land and also the passion about the pineapple. And now I'm thankfully able to grow my farm into a bigger size, where I'm specialized in the MD2 and also Maurice pineapple. And throughout my farm journey, I do face a lot of challenges and a lot of failure. But as we all know, the field is where the learning process ongoing and where we gain a lot of experience. And nowadays, I can say that I able to overcome most of the challenges, and that's why I'm here, so that the knowledge I have throughout my 6 years will be benefit for the audience, and also I could learn from the other panelists. So that's a little bit about me.
So for our second panelist, Ms. Esther Hansis, share a bit about your background.
I am officer from Department of Agriculture. I was invited to this forum to give some insights and sharing my knowledge as an officer for about 3 years into the department. As an officer, I look forward into overcoming challenges and disadvantages that farmers could have faced, and I also here to share about knowledge in climate change effect on crops to the audience.
Okay, so these are our panelists. So I think everyone is excited now to know about what our farmers done. So I have few questions for both of you, but for our first questions, I would like to ask our farmer first, Ms. Elytra Karens. So does the climate change affect to your pineapple crops?
Yes, climate change does affect to. We can say that all crop actually affected by climate change, and this including the pineapple. So for climate change, the most affecting my farm is actually the unpredictable weather, where sometimes it can rain for a month, sometimes it will be dry, will have a dry conditions, but sometimes it suddenly rain, suddenly stop. So this actually affect a lot to my farm, because as pineapple is a non-seasoning crop where we can plant it every time we want. So when the weather is so unpredictable, the planting times and also the management will be difficult.
Okay. So which climate events affect your farm the most, such as like floods or the drought?
I can say both the flood and drought is also affecting, because when the excessive raining will cause flooding, and this flooding will cause a lot of disease lah, because we know a lot of disease usually survive in a humid condition or when the water is excessive. This can lead to the bacterial or fungi infection for my pineapple. And when this happens, it's quite hard to prevent because it will reduce the entire yield of my pineapple. And for the drought, where the condition is too dry, the soil moisture is too dry, it will cause my pineapple to become stressed. They will have a heat stress that will make the size of the pineapple become smaller and also reduce my yield.
So, how do you produce? How much do you produce pineapple in 1 month?
The amount of pineapple produced is actually depends because if because pineapple it takes around 14 months until 24 months for it to fully grown and produce the fruit. So if I standardize my planting time, I can gain around 100 kg of fruit every month if the management is fine, where I can say we exclude the unpredictable condition.
Okay. So, how about from the officer? Do you usually get feedbacks from or comments or advices from the farmers about this climate change issues on their products?
I usually receive complaints and feedbacks that their crops are not growing uniformly due to the climate change. As we know, as the farmer already clarified, the uncertain weather condition have affect their crops, and as an officer, I recommend farmers to install weather prediction so that they know when to plant or when to harvest their crops.
Okay. So, what are the climate smart agriculture practice that you have been currently promoted to farmers?
So
Do you use any technologies, or you still using the traditional ways, using those pesticides or any things that can help to solve this problem?
one of the technology that we have bring to help farmers is weather, what is it called? It's like weather sensor where it can directly receive information from the satellite and give a real-time data to the farmers. But one of the disadvantage of this technology is not all farmers can accept this technology. One, because of the price is very expensive, and some farmers just don't want to accept a new era of farming technology, which they still stick to the traditional ways of predicting the weather.
Okay. So, back to the farmer. Since you mentioned just now that the climate change will affect your crops, though, so have you ever noticed any pests and disease on your crops?
Yeah, like I said at the first, one of the biggest problem in pineapple is actually the head root disease and also the root disease. And this happen actually when the humidity of the area and also the moisture is quite high, because because fungi and also bacteria basically they can survive, and the wet condition is actually favorable for them to grow. So this actually the main problem that pest and disease problem that I faced throughout the years lah. And also because of the stress from the too high temperature or also the dry condition, it's make the plant weaker and it's more vulnerable to the infection lah. So that's why in farm we need to always monitor the conditions, the moisture, and also the temperature of surrounding.
So other than you just monitor those temperature or humidity, what else did you do to the crops when you observe this pest and disease infected?
For most of the crop, if we can detect it early, like we can detect the one plant is already infected by the disease, we can just remove the single plant so that it won't affect the others. And that is the main and traditional way lah. So to ensure that other plant doesn't infected, we just need to keep monitoring it, and also can spray with some pesticide, fungicide or bactericide to prevent it lah.
Okay, thank you. So, do you apply for any extension services?
For now, the extension services that I apply only the what we call just advising service, where when I start my farm first, there are actually a lot of things that I don't know, and I need to learn about the pineapple, and that because of that I seek for some advice from the expert one, either from the Lembaga Nanas itself or any other agriculture officer. So for this advice, I learned how to know when to plant, when to harvest, and what the management for the pineapples. And also this service actually helped me a lot. Every time I have something new problem, I can seek for them and ask for advice, and maybe sometimes the advice quite difficult for us to implement, because like I said, when I first start it's just a small farm, but throughout the time I can figure out the problem or solution through the advice given.
Okay, so thank you for that. But I want to hear from the agriculture extension's perspective. So, how important is the farmer awareness in managing climate-related risks, in your opinion?
In my opinion, how important farmers to manage their
How important is farmer awareness in managing the climate-related risks?
based on my based on my point of view, farmers' awareness about this matter is a bit less exposure. So most farmers experience a lot of losses based on time, financial, and the crop produce because of this climate change, and the farmers usually just neglect this matter and doesn't seek for any extension or any advices from the officer or department that can help them through this matter. So it is very important for the farmers to know how serious is climate change impact to their crops.
And if I can add a little bit, so for me actually it's not only because the farmer neglect it or cannot seek for it, it's more like, especially in a rural area, they don't know where to seek the advice, where to seek about the services, because they are less exposed, and because a lot of farmer we know is most of them is older people, so they don't actually know where to seek it and to get the help.
Yeah, mostly in the rural area, the farmers are a bit harder to reach out because of the road barrier, language barrier, yeah, and everything.
Yeah, I understand that mostly farmers are from rural, like most in Sabah and Sarawak, so they have this transportation problems and maybe they have language barrier with our officer. So, what do you think you can do to overcome this?
As an officer, I will recommend our department to visit to the rural area a little bit more often rather than focusing on areas that we already reach out, because as an officer in a department of agriculture, we want agriculture to be developed uniformly, and all the farmers, we want the farmers to experience a fair treatment with each other.
So, instead of just giving advices or just help them to observe giving those advices. So, what are any financial supports to give to the farmers?
Some of the financial support that we already provide and we are still working on is we try to get them some grants from the government, and other than that we don't give them we don't give them directly monetary support. Instead, we provide them some of the tools or maybe some of the
So sorry for the technical issues. And so we have come to the Q&A sessions actually just now, and we will try to answer the questions from the floor. You guys just type it in the live chat box, and we will look through it one by one lah. So we have our first questions from Ignatia. She said she would like to ask our Miss Electra as a farm owner. She's a student and interested to start a pineapple farm. So how can she start?
Okay, for me, if you want to start a pineapple farm, the first thing you need to have your own land lah. And then the most important thing is you need to have a basic knowledge about the pineapple itself. You cannot just go and say you want to start it, but you don't have the basic knowledge of the pineapple. So this basic knowledge actually you can learn it from internet, from the YouTube, where a lot of video about pineapples there. Or if you want to know the more specific or more specialized one, you can seek the help or services from the government or also any agency related to the pineapple. So you can also take some pineapple course at first, so you have more knowledge and also you know how to manage your own crop after that. And basically for me, what you need to know is how to manage your pineapple, when your pineapple will grow, what the process of the pineapple until it harvesting stage, and then we need to know how to manage it, what pineapple need for daily, what pineapple need to grow. For example, you need to know when you want to irrigate the pineapple, when you want to start giving pesticide or anything. And also throughout your farm journey, you will face a lot of challenges, especially in terms of something that we can control, for example the unpredictable conditions. But it's okay, just you need to figure out or any ways to overcome it. So what I can say, just don't give up on your own farm.
Okay, that's a good advice from the farm owner. So I can conclude is that if you have this interest in planting crops, such as from the question is pineapple. So for me, it's not only for pineapple. Any crops you interested, you should have those eager to learn and fear to face the challenges, and don't ever give up if you have faced any challenges. There's always a solutions to the problems, and you can seek for advice also, as what our farm owner mentions, and you can get all informations at your tip of your fingers, as now is very technologies era. So everything you can get through your efforts. So we have the advice from our farm owner. What are the advices from our officer?
So my advice is, as an officer and we have farm owner and the audience, which is our community, we have to work together and create an awareness about climate change, which is climate change not only affect our surrounding, which is the environmental, it is also affecting our crop production, which directly impact the food security in Malaysia. So to overcome this matter, we have to work together and give support to each other, and this matter can be overcome if we work together.
Okay, so Miss Inatia say thank you. So, but she have a request. She said that can she come to your farm and learn from you?
Yeah, sure. Just come to my farm. I can teach you what I know, and I hope it will be useful for you lah.
Okay, you can just get her contact afterward. Okay. So we have another question from, I guess it's Miss Liu. How flood affected pineapple farm?
How flood affect pineapple farm? So, just like I said before, this flood actually create a excessive moisture condition for the pineapple, where it can make the pineapple more favorable and more easily attacked by pests and disease, especially the material of fungal disease. We like the most problems that pineapple face is the heart rot disease and also the root disease due to the moisture condition.
Okay. So that is what are the symptoms and how it affects the plants lah. So we have a third questions. What is the biggest impact of climate change on pineapple crops? Maybe our officer can answer. What is the biggest impacts of climate change on pineapple crops?
What is the biggest impact? From my experience, the biggest impact of climate change to pineapple is the water irrigation system, which is, as we know, pineapple, the taste depends on the weather of growing, and also climate change affect the ability of the crops to absorb nutrients from the soil. If the soil doesn't have enough moisture, doesn't have a proper irrigation, so the crops won't be able to retrieve the nutrients properly, and this are caused by the climate change impact and the surrounding.
And to add on a little bit, it's just not actually about floating or the moisture. Actually, if the condition is too dry, also not healthy for the pineapple to grow, because the pineapple will have a heat stress, so it's difficult for it to absorb nutrients, and it will affect the size of the pineapple fruit itself lah usually.
So as a conclusion is this climate change issues will give effect is to the standard growth of the pineapple crops like this. So the next question is, as a pineapple farmer, how do I prepare for the climate change impacts on my pineapple plantation? So I think the farmer can you answer this?
Okay, so for how to prepare for the climate change impact, I think most importantly, just like the officer said just now, the irrigation. We must have a proper irrigation and drainage for our farm, so we doesn't fully depend on the weather or the climate change. So when the condition is too dry, we can irrigate it more, and the drainage is actually helpful for prevent the flooding at our farm when the raining is excessive, or just ensure a proper drainage so that it doesn't accumulate or flood our pineapple.
Okay, so thank you. We have another questions. Are pineapples easy to grow? I want to plant it in my backyard. So what do you think?
Pineapples can be grown from the crown, right? From the crown. So if you want to grow it, maybe in a small scale, maybe in your backyard or maybe at your balcony, you can just took the crown and just plant it on the soil and wait for it to form a roots.
Yeah, I can say pineapple is not that hard to plant, but also not that easy. You can plant it from the ground, like the officer said, but if you just plant it and let it be like that, I don't think it will grow. So you need to take care of it lah.
Yeah, plants are just like humans, they need care. Okay,
Okay.
so I guess that's all the questions from the floor. So, as we come to the end of today's forum, so it is clear that the climate change is no longer a future threat, but also a present reality that is already affecting the Malaysia's food securities. So, from the farmer's perspective, just now we have heard that how unpredictable weather patterns and extreme climate events disrupt food productions and livelihoods. So, from the extensions officer's view, we learned that education, technical guidance, and farmer capacity buildings are essentials in helping the agriculture sectors adapt to these challenges. So, and she also highlighted that the importance of supportive policies, financial assistance, and long-term planning to strengthen the national food security. So, what these discussions clearly shows that is there's no single stakeholders can address this issue alone. So, ensuring food security under the climate change requires strong collaborations between the farmers, extension services, policymakers, and also our community. So, it requires continuous adaptations, innovations, and commitments at all levels. So, in conclusions, while climate change possesses significant challenges, it also presents an opportunity for Malaysians to build a more resilient and sustainable food system. So, with a coordinated efforts, informed decisions making, and proactive actions, we can safeguard the food security for current and future generations. And on behalf of the organizing community, I would like to sincerely thanks our panelists for their valuable insights and all participants for their intentions and engagements. That concludes our forums. Thank you.
Dah end.